bring yourself onto your mat at about the middle in child pose. Make that a comfortable posture for you to ground, to settle. And as you're settling and beginning to deepen your breathing, to become more conscious of your breathing, so you're moving into Ujjayi Pranayama, I'll give you a couple of quotes as inspiration for our today. We're going to continue to focus, like we did in the last round, on the support system of the roots, the legs, the core, the stem, and the breathing. Anais Nin wrote, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." Or, as Hafiz has written in his poem, "It felt love." How did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. Being conscious of your breath, your heart, your physical heart in your body, the lungs on either side of your heart, your rib cage, protecting those delicate areas, and using that deeper breath on your next inhale to lift yourself up, emerging upright. Take your time. And as you bring your arms out and up and then together, roll down through lotus, bud, and into roots. And we'll work with that same flow of mudras or symbols in the hands that we did in the last round. The hands being secondary chakras or energy centers of the heart, extensions of the heart. You're going to move between the root system, where you bring the backs of your hands together on the very end of the exhale, and then up into the bud as you begin to inhale, and all the way up overhead, bringing your forearms together in the lotus flower. See if you can start to find a flow between these three. Inhaling up, exhaling, coming back down. Allowing your breath to lengthen to give you more time to find the details of the symbols. This next time that you inhale, pause at the bud symbol, being conscious of the space between your hands. Another good quote for this heart practice is, "Love is space." If you can create space within yourself, within your hands. Finding spacious breath. I'm going to take the breath into Adi Mantra. Breathing in to begin. As you inhale, lift your arms up overhead, moving through Padma Mudra, Lotus, and extending out, and transition your way from kneeling into table. So take a stretch through your fingers, so that when you bring your palms down, you don't have all the weight in your wrists. And once you find your posture, push the ground away, arching into cat pose. With your head dropped down, double check the alignment of your legs, toes, ankles, knees, front, hips. Once you have a good stretch there, then roll into cow pose and double check that your shoulders clear back from your neck. So you're opening the front door of the heart by drawing your shoulder blades down and in. And as you're ready, roll between cat and cow from your tailbone up to your head. Let your head follow. See if you can pace the breathing to the movement of the spine. So you start the inhale or the exhale at the tailbone and feel the fullness or the emptiness of the breath once you lift your head at the other end. Using this key foundational movement to bring yourself into your body, to move your breath through your body, to find out how your hips and shoulders feel, how your spine feels. I'm going to play with that same awareness between tailbone, the root system, at one end of the spine, and the blossoming open of the heart, the sternum drawing up and out at the other end. So find when you come into cow this next time where your chest is drawing forward between your upper arms, shoulder blades sliding down and in, and at the same time tuck your low belly in and up and stretch your tailbone back and find the place where that tugs. We're going to use that awareness in camel. I'm going to take camel, if possible, a little bit more open today. So coming into the same foundation, same setup, press your shins down and bring your hands to your butt and use your hands on your butt to leverage your sternum up. Draw your chest up towards your chin. Inhale your chest up. Exhale, draw your belly in towards your spine and drop your tailbone down towards the back of your knees. Find where you can breathe in this back bend. This is always an interesting sensation to move back into space. Check now if you can support yourself with your core without your hands. And use your hands to windmill, draw yourself back up. Release into child, push the ground away with your hands to help release your low back. Notice how that feels, that low back area. If it's too intense, you may not have supported it with your core. I'm going to open a little bit more through the shoulders with what I call blossom roll. So keeping yourself in child, take your arms out level with your shoulders and turn your palms to face forward towards the front edge of the mat. Feel your shoulders roll onto your back and then rotate your hands the other way so that your shoulders roll forward towards your neck. So you're rolling from your hands through your elbows into your shoulders and feeling how that rolls your shoulders towards your neck and then draws them back away from your neck. And align the breath to this. So you inhale when you open your shoulders off your neck, and you exhale when you roll your shoulders into your neck. So the way that you would wring out a towel. So you're wringing out the length of your arms and shoulders. Next time you inhale, lift yourself up onto your shins, so you're kneeling, and do the same thing and let your head follow the movement. Inhaling, lifting up, feeling your sternum lift, your head lift a little bit, don't scrunch up the back of your neck, and exhaling and rolling forward, letting your head follow that movement. See if you can lead from your wrists, your hands rolling through your elbows, shoulders, into your spine. And this next time that you inhale, lift yourself right up onto your shins, plant your shins down so you have a good root system, and continue with that movement. And see if you can find a little bit more opening, a little more lift through your sternum, maybe your chin lifting slightly without scrunching your neck on the inhale, and then really rolling, rounding through the upper back as you exhale. This next time that you come upright on your inhale, Pause here, plant your shins down, and bring your hands to your butt. We're going to come back into Ustrasana, camel pose. Back bends tend to like repetition. The back likes to be opened into slowly over time. So take your time to come into camel, Ustrasana, lifting your sternum up as you inhale, sliding your tailbone down as you exhale, rolling your shoulders in, your elbows in, and then curl your toes under behind you. And if you feel ready to go to the next stage, bring one hand to the heel of that foot and the other hand to the heel of the other foot. If that doesn't work, you stop breathing, you're feeling your low back, you're holding tight with your jaw, come back to bringing your hands onto your butt and working from there, leveraging sternum up. So you're not sinking into your low back. You can breathe steadily. If you feel confident releasing your head back, be sure your sternum doesn't drop. Continue to lift your sternum up as you inhale. Lengthen your tailbone down as you exhale. And if you have your hands on your heels and you want to go to the next level, uncurl your toes. So you plant your ankles and your shins down. Instead of sinking down into your hands, use that connection just like you did in cat pose before. Leverage the ground away. Push the ground away. Push your heels away with your hands instead of sinking into them, drawing your chest up. Exhale. Drop your tailbone down. Camels are about the longer journey. They make their way through the desert on very little. So with this practice, with this posture, take your time. Don't be in a rush. You don't need to go to the full posture right away. Use your next inhale to windmill yourself up, lifting up with your arm, lift up with your core, bring the other arm up, exhale, press back into extended child, and take your breath into your low back, releasing out any sensation there by breathing into it. If that sensation doesn't release out after a few breaths, again, you may have gone too far. So always using that gauge to find, next time you do camel, maybe just go to the point where you can stabilize it more from your core. Finding your breath in your low back, easing your breathing so it's longer and deeper, noticing the energy that comes from back bending. Tend to stimulate adrenals and kidneys with back bending, so it might feel a bit exciting, especially when you're moving back into space, into the unknown. Breathing a little deeper, and we're going to use the next inhale to come up from child through lunge. Doesn't matter which foot you step forward. Bring your feet towards the front edge of the mat, checking that they're parallel in your mountain Tadasana stance. Lift your toes. And coming into standing yoga mudra. So you're lifting from your feet, toes, arches up into your kneecaps, your quadricep muscles lifting your kneecaps up. And at the back of the legs, tilting your sits bones up, drawing them up away from your heels. It's the opposite of what you've done in hamstring stretch. Same stretch, but from the other end. So once you find the lift up through your legs, think of breathing from the root system in your feet all the way up the lengths of those roots in your legs to your sits bones, your tailbone, and exhaling from your sits bones, your pelvis down through the length of your spine, interlaced fingers behind your back. If you want to draw your arms away from your back to deepen this, just be mindful of your neck, your shoulders pulling away from your neck. And then transitioning from here into Utkatasana, intense pose. So keeping your feet, bend your knees, unlace your fingers, bring your arms out in front, and as you stretch your fingers forward, tilt your tailbone back towards the back edge of the mat and draw your low belly in and up. See if you can find that same relationship you had in Camel Ustrasana of lifting your sternum, drawing your heart open between your upper arms, and at the same time dropping your tailbone down, anchoring your tailbone towards the ground, your heels into the ground. Finding the depth of the stance that wakes up your legs and requires a little bit deeper breath. You're going to move from here into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. So if you inhale next and lift your left arm up, windmill it up, step your left foot back and align the arch of your left foot with your right foot, which has stayed right where it was. Let your arms come down as you set your foundation, your root system in your feet. If that stance feels too precarious, you can take your back foot a little wider. Look to see that your right knee aligns over your middle toes. Use your right hand inside your thigh to feel that alignment of your knee as you lift your low belly in and up and turn your ribs, your shoulder towards the left. Press the outer edge of your left foot into the ground, lifting all 10 toes so that you remember your feet on the ground, and think of pressing through the ball of your right foot, pushing the ground away with the ball of your right foot, and through the outer edge of your left foot. So you're not just sinking down into your knees, but pressing down to rise up through that root system, right up through your stem, through your waist, keeping both waists even and long. Then let your arms lift up level with your shoulders, so they're light because they're held up from underneath. And look down and see your right knee is still over your toes. Then look at the middle right finger. Focus your eyes, your gaze. Take a few more breaths here into the fullness of this posture. And the next time that you exhale, windmill your way back through lunge pose and into Utkatasana again. Checking your feet are aligned so you have your roots stable underneath you. Push the ground away with your heels, lengthen up through your legs. Inhale, lift your arms up, grow up really tall. Keep all that height as you exhale and release your arms down. And then focus your eyes to help your balance as you shift your weight to your left foot. Warrior pose, you might feel that right thigh, so start here with stretching the quadricep muscle out and at the same time balancing. Anchor down through your left heel, lift up through your left kneecap, thigh muscle, your low belly, and check that as you draw your right foot towards your butt, that your tailbone continues to anchor down so your low back stays long. Feeling the alignment of your front hip bones. When you keep your tailbone dropped down, you'll feel the stretch in that quadricep muscle a little deeper. Breathing here, so you're stretching the right thigh while balancing and strengthening through the left leg. I'm going to change the hold on the right foot. So instead of holding from the outside, roll through the front of your foot and hold from the inside. And you know you're in the right place because your right shoulder is open towards the right side of the mat instead of rounded forward. Find where that is, where your thumb is in line with your big toe. Your low belly drawing in and up. Your eyes are focused on a point to help your balance. As you inhale next, lift your left arm up, finding that long line from left foot right up through the left fingertips. And as you exhale, press your right foot into your right hand. Feel how that opens your right shoulder, creates a deeper stretch through your right thigh. Keep your low belly lifted so you don't overarch your low back. Find the place where your hips stay squared forward. You might want to play with this by beginning to fold forward, extending your left arm forward into space. If you want to add a little bit more creative gesture with it, you can turn your left palm up and create half of that Padma mudra, lotus symbol in your hand. This next time that you inhale, lift up through your left arm, release your right foot, and bring yourself back into your mountain stance, and from there into Utkatasana, intense pose. Double check your knees are opening over your toes so you can feel your inner arches lifting and your belly is drawing in and up as you tilt your tailbone back, finding again that relationship between the tailbone and the sternum. So as you lengthen your tailbone back, lift your sternum up. I'm going to transition from here into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2 on the other side. As you inhale, lift your right arm up and step your right foot back, finding first your foundation, your alignment in your feet. So you're aligning your right arch with your left foot, if possible. Outer edge of your foot's parallel to the back edge of the mat. Press the outer edge of that foot down, lift your right toes up, lift your left toes up, and see that your kneecap aligns over your middle toes in that left knee. As you keep your left knee open, draw your pubic bones up. So you're opening through the pelvis, lifting through your waist, and turn your right ribs and right shoulder towards the right side of the mat without your left knee following. When you find where that place is, where that edge is, then let your arms float up, shoulders staying down on your back. And look out over your left fingers and glance down, double check your left knee is still aligned over your toes. Think of pushing the ground away with the ball of your foot, so establishing your root system through your feet, lifting up through the roots of your legs, the stem of your core, and letting the heart space open, shoulders broad on your back, jaw relaxed. Next time that you exhale, windmill your way back down through left lunge and step forward with your right foot, coming into Utkatasana one more time, intense pose one more time. So double check your feet, align your knees over your toes. Lift all the way up as you inhale, pressing the floor away with your heels. Exhale your arms down behind you. Focus your eyes outwards as you get a sense of your feet on the ground, lifting inner arches, thighs, right up through that inner channel of your body. Keep that inner channel as you shift your weight to your right foot. Hold on to your left foot with your left hand, and use your right hand to double check that your front hips are aligned, so you haven't lifted or dropped your left front hip. Keeping your tailbone drop down with the strength of your core as you find the stretch in your left quadricep, left thigh. If you want to deepen that, keep your tailbone dropped and draw your left heel towards your butt cheek. Being sure your right knee is not locked, you're lifting it up. And then we're going to change the hold on the left foot. So if you're holding from the outside, turn your hand to the inside so your shoulder opens. Use your next inhale to lift your right arm up, shoulder stays broad on your back, and as you exhale, press your left foot into your left hand and let your left shoulder open, your quadricep open, keeping your hips squared with each other. That left hip will want to turn and open towards the left side of the mat. So even if you start folding forward and going deeper into this dancer pose, keep your hips squared, and that will determine where you go, keeping your low back supported with your low belly. Breath supporting the wobbling of dancing in this posture, dancer pose. If you want to play further, you're at the fullest extent, you want to add a little bit in, add that half lotus symbol in your right hand, turning your palm up. On this next inhale, if you've folded forward, use that in-breath to bring yourself back upright. And as you exhale, release your arm and your leg. And once you have both feet back on the ground, fold over and step back into down dog. Start with modified down dog, so bend your knees, lift your heels, double check that your toes line up, your feet are in line with your front hip bones, and double check that your hands line up. So your root system, your foundation on the ground is symmetrical, which means that everything above it will also follow that symmetry or have a greater chance at it. And begin to draw up from your hands through the lengths of your arms, along the lengths of your waists, into your sits bones. Think of inhaling from your hands up through your sits bones without your shoulders shrugging up around your neck. And then exhaling from that height of your hips down through the lengths of your legs, through your heels, and noticing where that lengthening through your legs rounds your low back. See if you can keep the lift of your tailbone up and the opening of the heart space, the back of the heart, in particular in this posture, and give it another breath or so to take in where you've been in this practice. We've been opening through the heart and doing a bit of leg strengthening and balancing. And this next time that you exhale, release your knees down and press your way back into child pose. So start with your hands in front, helping to take your hips back over your heels. Find where you can rest your head on your hands or on the ground. Make yourself comfortable. Let go. If you have time, you're also welcome to rest in Shavasana, finding the easiest, quickest release for you. Letting go of the breath. Let it roll into its own pace, so you are breathed. Our element here in Anahata chakra in the heart is air. The lungs on either side of the heart. So notice the change of your breath. And we started this practice with a focus on the bud of the flower. So as you settle into stillness, I'll give you a short poem by someone named Galway Kinnell. The bud stands for all things, even for those that don't flower. For everything flowers from within of self-blessing, though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness, to put a hand on the brow of the flower and retell it in words and in touch, it is lovely, until it flowers again from within of self-blessing. To support yourself internally, to transition out of stillness, breathe more actively, more consciously. Use your next inhale to bring yourself up to kneeling. Arms out and up overhead. And as you come down through Padma Mudra, that lotus flower, when you reach your heart center, keep your hands here in the bud version, and then acknowledge yourself in your practice. And if you're practicing with anyone else, namaste.